Welcome to the fascinating journey through the history of Jammu and Kashmir. This region, nestled in the Himalayas, has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, dynasties, and cultures over thousands of years. From ancient mythological origins to modern political transitions, Kashmir's story is rich, complex, and deeply influential. In this video, we'll explore the sources of its history, the legendary rulers, and the cultural transformations that shaped its identity. Let's begin by understanding why Kashmir's history is so unique, and why it continues to captivate historians and travelers alike. To truly appreciate Kashmir's past, we must first look at the sources that document its history. The region's chronicles are a blend of myth, legend, and factual records. Among the most important are the Rajatarangini, Nilamata Purana, and various Persian and Sanskrit texts. These works provide insight into royal lineages, religious practices, and cultural traditions. The Rajatarangini, written by Kalhana in the 12th century, is considered the first proper historical record of Kashmir, while the Nilamata Purana offers mythological and cultural context. Later historians extended these chronicles, ensuring Kashmir's story was preserved for generations. The Rajatarangini, meaning River of Kings, symbolizes the continuous historical flow of royal lineages in Kashmir. Written by Kalhana, a Kashmiri Brahmin historian and poet, between 1148 and 1150 CE, it records the history of Kashmir's kings, dynasties, wars, reforms, and political changes from the mythical Gananda I to Kalhana's contemporary Harsha. Originally written in Sanskrit and divided into 8 books, it was later translated into English, Persian, and Malayalam. Subsequent historians like Janaraja, Shrivara, Prajvabhata, and Shuka extended its narrative, covering events up to Akbar's conquest in 1586 CE. The Rajatarangini remains a cornerstone for understanding Kashmir's royal past. The Nilamata Purana, meaning the Purana of the Blue God, refers to Nila, the Naga deity of Kashmir. This ancient text, composed between the 6th and 8th centuries CE, explains the mythological origins, geography, and traditions of Kashmir. Structured as a dialogue between sage Vasampayana and King Janamejaya, it describes how Kashmir was once a lake called Sadasar, drained by Rishi Kashyapa to establish life. The Nilamata Purana highlights the worship of local deities and the region's cultural roots, blending myth with early historical accounts. Its influence is seen in the rituals and festivals that continue in Kashmir today. Beyond the Rajatarangini and Nilamata Purana, Kashmir's history is documented in various other chronicles and texts. These include Jaina Rajatarangini, Dvidya Rajatarangini, Rajavlipataka, Tariki Kashmir, Muktasar Tariki Kashmir, Kutnamata Kavya Tarakira Shidi, Muntakabat Tawarik, and Majmadat Tawarik. Each source provides unique perspectives, covering different periods and rulers. Persian, Sanskrit, and local languages were used to record events, ensuring a diverse and multi-layered historical narrative. These texts are invaluable for researchers and students seeking to understand the complexities of Kashmir's past. Kashmir's earliest rulers were local Naga chiefs and tribal chieftains, as mentioned in the Nilamata Purana and Rajatarangini. The region was already a site of Brahmanical rituals and early Buddhist influences, thanks to trade and cultural exchanges. Over time, Kashmir became integrated into larger empires, beginning with the Mauryan Empire in the 3rd century BCE. Ashoka the Great, the 3rd Mauryan emperor, is credited with bringing Kashmir under Mauryan control, founding the city of Srinagar and promoting Buddhism. These early empires laid the foundation for Kashmir's religious and cultural diversity. The Mauryan Empire's influence on Kashmir began with Ashoka the Great, who ruled from 304 to 232 BCE. Ashoka is credited with founding Srinagar, an administrative center near present-day Srinagar, and actively promoting Buddhism in the valley. He built stupas, viharas, and monasteries, making Kashmir an early center of Buddhist learning. After the Third Buddhist Council, Ashoka sent missionaries to spread Buddhism, contributing to the region's spiritual heritage. The decline of Mauryan influence led to local rulers and Indo-Greeks asserting control, setting the stage for future dynasties. The Kushan Empire, originating from Central Asian tribes, rose to power in the 1st century CE. Under rulers like Kujala Kadphises and Kanishka I, the empire expanded into Punjab, Kashmir, and northern India. The Kushan period is considered a golden age for art, trade, and Buddhism in Kashmir. Kanishka convened the 4th Buddhist Council in Kashmir, marking the formal rise of Mahayana Buddhism. Kushan coins bearing images of rulers and deities have been found in Kashmir, serving as evidence of trade and control. The decline of Kushan rule saw the rise of local dynasties like the Kidarites and Karkotas. The Karkota dynasty, founded around 625 CE by Durlabhavardhana, marked a new era in Kashmir's history. The dynasty's capital was Parihasapura, and its rulers claimed Naga descent, linking their lineage to Hindu mythology. Durlabhavardhana consolidated power peacefully and encouraged trade and agriculture. During his reign, the Chinese pilgrim Xuanzang visited Kashmir, studying Sanskrit and Hindu scriptures. The Karkota dynasty is remembered for its patronage of art, architecture, and religious tolerance, laying the groundwork for Kashmir's golden age. Lalitaditya Muktapida, the most powerful ruler of the Karkota dynasty, reigned from 724 to 760 CE. He built Parihasapura as his capital and conducted extensive military campaigns from Central Asia to Bengal and South India. Lalitaditya broke the power of Arabs in Sindh, defeated Yashovarman of Kannauj, and claimed victories over Tibet, Kabul, and Dardistan. He patronized art, architecture, and religious tolerance, building the famous Martand Sun Temple. His reign is known as the Golden Age of Kashmir, with achievements likened to Alexander and Samudragupta. After Lalitaditya's reign, the Karkota dynasty entered a period of decline. Weak rulers struggled to maintain unity, and nobles and ministers gained power. Education, reforms, and architecture continued, but the kingdom became fragmented. Avantivarman, a minister, eventually overthrew the last Karkota ruler and established the Utpala dynasty in 855 CE. The transition marked the end of the Karkota era and the beginning of new dynastic rule in Kashmir. The Utpala dynasty, founded by Avantivarman in 855 CE, restored stability to Kashmir after the decline of the Karkotas. Avantivarman built Avantipur as the new capital and was a patron of architecture, learning, and irrigation. He appointed the famous engineer Saya, who devised river systems and reclaimed land from floods. The dynasty promoted Sanskrit literature and religious tolerance, marking a revival in Kashmir's cultural and economic life. Avantivarman's reign is remembered for snatching power from feudal landlords and establishing strong administration. During the Utpala dynasty, the Damaras, powerful feudal landlords and aristocratic families, played a dominant role in Kashmir's politics. Initially subordinate to the king, their power grew immensely, especially during and after the Utpala period. The rise of Damaras led to political instability, court intrigues, and civil wars. Their influence continued into later dynasties, shaping the region's power structure and contributing to periods of chaos and fragmentation. Shankaravarman, son of Avantivarman, was an aggressive ruler who shifted the capital to Shankarpur and built temples dedicated to Lord Shiva. His reign saw increased interference by feudal lords, leading to instability after his death. Queen Sugandha, widow of Shankaravarman and mother of Gopalavarman, became one of the few female rulers in Kashmir. She tried to resist the rise of nobles but was eventually defeated and retired to a monastery. The period was marked by civil wars, short reigns, and anarchy. After Shankaravarman and Sugandha, the Utpala dynasty saw a rapid decline. Weak and puppet kings ruled amidst political chaos, feudal conflicts, and court intrigues. The rise of Damaras further destabilized the kingdom, leading to multiple short-lived rulers and eventual succession by the Lohara dynasty in the 11th century. This period is remembered for instability and the dominance of feudal lords over royal authority. The period between 939 and 1003 CE was a time of political instability and transition in Kashmir. Following the end of the Utpala dynasty, a series of weak rulers and internal strife dominated the region. Ministers and nobles seized power through intrigue, and the most significant figure was Queen Dida, who consolidated authority and suppressed rebellions. Dida's rule saw continued patronage of art, culture, and religion, despite political intrigue and external threats. Queen Dida, often referred to as the Witch Queen and Catherine of Kashmir, ruled independently from 980 to 1003 CE. Despite her disability, she governed with an iron hand, eliminating rivals and consolidating power. Dida's reign saw the suppression of feudal lords, patronage of art and religion, and the construction of temples and monasteries. Her legacy includes laying the foundation for the Lohara dynasty, which would rule Kashmir for the next 2 centuries. The Lohara dynasty, established in 1003 CE, traces its roots to the Lohara region in modern-day Jammu and Kashmir. Dida, daughter of Simharaja, designated her nephew Sangra Maharaja as her successor, marking the formal beginning of the Lohara dynasty. The dynasty's rulers were known for efforts to maintain Kashmir's sovereignty, patronage of art and religion, and complex political struggles. The Lohara dynasty's rule is divided into 2 main phases, with significant achievements and eventual decline. The first Lohara dynasty, 1031-1001 AD, began with Sangra Maharaja, who inherited a stable kingdom but faced challenges from rebellious feudal lords and external threats. His reign focused on consolidating power and maintaining Kashmir's defenses. Sangra Maharaja supported the construction of temples and patronized Shaivism. Despite invasions from Central Asian tribes and the Ghaznavid Empire, he successfully defended Kashmir's borders, ensuring the region's continued independence. Harsha, one of the most documented figures in the Rajatarangini, began his reign with efforts to restore order and strengthen the economy. He was a patron of the arts, commissioning grand temples and supporting Sanskrit literature. However, his later years were marked by tyranny, heavy taxation, and temple plundering to fund his lavish lifestyle. This alienated nobles and the public, sparking rebellions, and leading to his overthrow by cousins Achala and Sasala, marking the end of the First Lohara dynasty. Second Lohara dynasty, 1101-1171 AD, began after the overthrow of Harsha. Achala and Sasala, descendants of the Lohara family, vied for power, leading to a new line of rulers. Achala focused on restoring stability by curbing the power of the Damaras and reforming the administration. Sasala's reign was marked by civil war, frequent uprisings, and external threats. The dynasty weakened further after Sasala's assassination, as factionalism intensified. Jayasimha, Sasala's son, was one of the last significant Lohara rulers. His reign was a struggle to maintain control amidst constant rebellions and declining royal authority. Jayasimha attempted to stabilize the kingdom through alliances with local lords and patronage of religious institutions. His court continued to support Shaivism and Sanskrit scholarship, but external pressures and raids further strained Kashmir's resources. Jayasimha's death marked the beginning of the dynasty's final decline. Later rulers of the Lohara dynasty, including Parmanuka and Vantidva, were weak and faced relentless challenges from rebellious nobles and external invaders. The dynasty's authority eroded as local lords asserted independence. By 1171 AD, the Lohara dynasty effectively collapsed, giving way to new power structures in Kashmir. The region entered a period of fragmentation until the rise of Muslim rule in the 14th century. After the collapse of the Lohara dynasty, Kashmir entered a phase of political instability, with weak rulers, rebellious feudal lords, and external interventions. The absence of strong centralized authority led to the rise of local chieftains and invasions by neighboring powers, including Turkic and Mongol groups. Despite instability, Kashmir remained a center of Hindu and Buddhist culture, with Shaivism and Sanskrit scholarship continuing. The early 13th century saw increased pressure from Central Asian invaders, particularly Turkic tribes and later the Mongols, who raided northern India and Kashmir's borders. The weakening of the Shahi dynasty in Gandhara and the rise of the Delhi Sultanate indirectly affected Kashmir, as trade routes and regional alliances shifted. Feudal conflicts continued, with local lords challenging central authority and establishing semi-independent fiefdoms. By the early 14th century, Sufi missionaries began introducing Islam to Kashmir. Figures like Bulbul Shah, a Sufi saint from Central Asia, are credited with spreading Islam peacefully among the local population. These missionaries gained influence among lower classes and disaffected groups, laying the groundwork for religious transformation. The arrival of Muslim adventurers and political figures further accelerated the transition. Key rulers of the pre-Muslim period include Suhedva, Rinchana, and Kota Rani. Suhedva, a Hindu ruler, attempted to restore centralized authority but faced challenges from internal rebellions and Mongol invasions. Rinchana, a Buddhist prince from Ladakh, seized power after Suhedva's flight and converted to Islam, becoming the first Muslim ruler of Kashmir. Kota Rani, an influential queen, briefly ruled after Uddayanadva's death before being overthrown by Shah Mir, who established Muslim rule. The Shah Mir dynasty, founded in 1339 AD by Shah Mir, marked the beginning of Muslim rule in Kashmir. Shah Mir, who had served as a minister under Suhedva and Rinchana, capitalized on the political vacuum after Uddayanadva's death. He took the title Sultan Shamsuddin and established a dynasty that would rule Kashmir for over 2 centuries. Islam was firmly established in the region during this period. Sultan Shihabuddin, one of the most important rulers of the Shah Mir dynasty, led numerous campaigns and conquered regions like Sindh, Kabul, Ghazni, Kandahar, and Ladakh. Known for his good administration, he is often compared to Lala Aditya of medieval Kashmir. Shihabuddin founded new towns, treated his subjects generously, and maintained religious tolerance, setting a precedent for future rulers. Sikandar Shah Miri, known as Sikandar Butchikan or the Iconoclast, ruled Kashmir from 1389 to 1413. He is infamous for destroying temples, prohibiting Hindu rites, and imposing jizya poll tax on Hindus. Sikandar abolished the custom of sati and built Kankai Mala. His reign is remembered for religious intolerance and significant changes in Kashmir's social fabric. Zainul Abidin, the 8th Sultan of Kashmir, ruled for 50 years and is known as Bud Shah or the Great King. His reign was marked by religious tolerance, patronage of education, literature, art, and craft. Zainul Abidin established translation bureaus, promoted Sanskrit and Persian literature, and developed industries like shawl-making, silk, and paper mache. He built towns, bridges, and irrigation systems, making Kashmir a cultural and economic paradise. After Zainul Abidin's death, the Shah-Mir dynasty began to decline due to weak rulers. The last ruler, Habib Shah, was dethroned by his commander Ghazi Chak, who established the Chak dynasty. The transition marked the end of a significant chapter in Kashmir's history and set the stage for new power dynamics. The Chak dynasty, founded by Mohammad Ghazi Shah Chak, ruled Kashmir from 1561 to 1586 AD. Chaks originally belonged to Dard territory and prevented Mughal attempts to annex Kashmir. Yusuf Shah Chak, the last independent ruler, tried to resist Mughal expansion but was imprisoned by Akbar. The dynasty's end marked the beginning of Mughal rule in Kashmir. Kashmir's history features several notable women rulers. Yashavati, mentioned in Rajatarangini, is a mythical queen of the Gananda dynasty. Suganha Devi from the Utpala dynasty ruled as regent and then directly, issuing coins and patronizing temples. Queen Dida, the most powerful female ruler, governed with political shrewdness and ruthlessness, laying the foundation for the Lohara dynasty. Kota Rani, the last Hindu ruler, displayed administrative ability and diplomacy before being overthrown by Shah Mir. The Mughal rule in Kashmir began in 1586, when Akbar annexed the region after defeating the Chak dynasty. Kashmir became a prized province for its beauty, resources, and strategic location. Key emperors like Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb influenced Kashmir's administration, culture, and religious landscape. Mughal rule shaped Kashmir's politics, economy, and identity, leaving a lasting legacy. Akbar established Mughal rule in Kashmir through diplomacy and military strategy. He invited Yusuf Shah Chak to Delhi, imprisoned him, and dispatched an army to annex Kashmir. Akbar's most important contribution was revenue administration, assigning Raja Todarmal to assess land revenue. He visited Kashmir multiple times, built forts, and encouraged interfaith dialogue. Akbar's reforms laid the foundation for centralized administration and economic stability. Jahangir, known for his love of Kashmir, visited the valley 13 times and called it his personal garden. He built Shalimar Bagh, a Chabal garden, and Varanag garden in Persian style, patronized shawl-making, and continued Akbar's governance. Shah Jahan, an art lover, built Chashv Shahi garden and added features to Shalimar Bagh and Varanag garden. He constructed roads, sarais, and mosques, further elevating Kashmir's cultural status. Aurangzeb ruled Kashmir with religious intolerance, visiting only once and imposing strict Islamic policies. The Jamia Masjid was rebuilt during his reign. After Aurangzeb's death, weak rulers accelerated the decline of Mughal control. Instability and misrule led to public discontent, and Mughal governors began to loot and plunder. The Durrani invasion in 1752 ended Mughal rule, but the gardens, crafts, and administrative systems they left behind continue to define Kashmir's identity. Afghan rule in Kashmir, spanning from 1753 to 1819, is termed the darkest period in the region's history. Ahmad Shah Durrani invaded and annexed Kashmir, appointing Afghan governors known for their brutality and heavy taxation. The Ijradari system ruined the peasantry, leading to forced migrations and social unrest. Despite oppression, Persian scholarship and the shawl industry flourished. The period ended with Sikh conquest in 1819. Sikh rule in Kashmir lasted from 1819 to 1846, following Maharaja Ranjit Singh's conquest. Sikh governors administered the valley, initially welcomed by Hindus and some Muslims due to relief from Afghan oppression. The administration relied heavily on Kashmiri Pandits, creating economic disparities and resentment among Muslims. Heavy taxation and forced labor persisted, but the shawl trade flourished. The Sikh rule ended with the First Anglo-Sikh War and the Treaty of Amritsar. The Dogra dynasty, founded by Maharaja Gulab Singh, began after the British sold Kashmir to him under the Treaty of Amritsar in 1846. Gulab Singh centralized administration, abolished forced labor, and rebuilt forts. The Dogra rulers contributed to infrastructure, education, and legal systems, but imposed heavy taxes and discriminatory policies, particularly against Muslims. Their rule ended in 1947 with Kashmir's accession to India, but their impact persists in the region's socio-political fabric. During Dogra rule, significant developments occurred in infrastructure, education, and industry. Maharaja Ranbir Singh established a translation bureau, modern judicial system, and promoted Sanskrit schools. Pratap Singh completed the Jhelum Valley Cart Road and Banihal Cart Road, opened schools, and set up a silk factory. Hari Singh, the last Dogra monarch, made primary education compulsory, introduced laws prohibiting child marriage, and opened places of worship to low castes. The instrument of accession in 1947 marked Kashmir's integration into India. Kashmir's ancient history includes the Gananda Empire, Pandavas, Achaemenid Empire, Mauryan Empire, Kushan dynasty, and Huns. The Rajatarangini details these dynasties, highlighting their contributions to culture, religion, and governance. Ashoka introduced Buddhism, Kanishka held the Fourth Buddhist Council, and Mihirakula, a Hun invader, favored Shaivism. These dynasties laid the foundation for Kashmir's diverse heritage. Medieval Kashmir saw the rise of the Karkota, Utpala, Lohara, and Deva dynasties. Lalitaditya Muktapida, the greatest Karkota ruler, conquered regions across Asia and India, built the Martin Sun Temple, and promoted religious tolerance. Avantivarman of the Utpala dynasty restored peace and built towns and temples. The Lohara dynasty, centered at Loran, faced invasions and internal strife, but rulers like Jayasimha established stability and patronized art and literature. The history of Jammu and Kashmir is a tapestry of dynasties, empires, and cultural transformations. From ancient mythological origins to modern political transitions, the region has witnessed periods of brilliance and turmoil. Its rulers navigated complex challenges, fostering vibrant cultural and religious environments. Despite persistent internal conflicts and external pressures, Kashmir's legacy endures through its literature, art, and tradition. Today, the region's history continues to inspire and inform, reminding us of the resilience and richness of its people.